Of course, the free ride is over, boomers. Time to actually work for something for the first time in your lives. Then Gentleman in Red says, how remarkably stupid your comment is. How do you think that boomers created the wealth to place a deposit on properly?
Are you fucking serious?
You didn't create anything. You were given it by your parents' efforts post-war, and then you squandered it during the 70s, 80s, and 90s on a consumerist, degenerate lifestyle that poisoned our air, ruined any chance of a stable economy for short-term gains, promoted the kind of economic management that saw the greatest economy ever seen crippled with debt, and literally left some parts of this planet too polluted to inhabit. You're the only generation to leave your children with less than you had for the first time in the history of humanity. You created nothing. Boomers are a pathetic stain on the scorecard of history, and if it were up to me, you'd be taking numbers next to a long wall.
I am become death, destroyer of worlds. Kneel before Zod.
Boomer versus Zoomer, dude. From Chase Bank. You. Why is my balance so low? Bank account. Make coffee at home. Eat the food that's already in the fridge. You don't need a cab. It's only 3 blocks. I guess we'll never know. Seriously? Hashtag Monday Motivation. And then Elizabeth Warren, that bag of wrinkles, replied with, at Chase, why aren't customers saving money? Taxpayers. We lost our jobs, /homes, /savings, but gave you a $25 billion bailout. Workers. Employers don't pay living wages. Economics. Rising costs plus stagnant wages equals 0 savings. I also probably said economists wrong. It's probably economists. I don't know. Chase. Guess we'll never know. Everyone. Seriously? Hashtag money motivation. Hey guys, this is the government office where you can apply for your free college. They'll even give you on-the-job training, work clothes, a free place to live, and 3 hot meals a day. All with the additional potential of international travel to Iraq and or Afghanistan. Oh, you don't like free stuff anymore? I'm sorry, but the whole join the military if you want free education thing is BS. You shouldn't have to go through severe physical and psychological reconditioning, risk your life, or sign up for a war that you are morally opposed to in order to get an affordable education. Honestly, most people fighting for free education aren't even asking for free education. They're asking for affordable education. You know, like the generation before ours had, before the politicians they voted into office screwed that up for us. Free education isn't free. I say Bernie gets you a free education. You get a nice job with your oology degree, making $30K a year, but golly gee willikers, the government party wants 65% of your paycheck to help other kids get PE and ology degrees. It's never free. Boom, roasted. Like I said, I don't want a free education. I understand how socialism works. I want an affordable higher education, like the one your generation and the one before it had, before they screwed it up for my generation. Let me break this down for you. Annual tuition for Yale, 1970, $2,500. Annual tuition for Yale, 2014, $45,800. Minimum wage in 1970, $1.45. Minimum wage in 2014, $7.25. Assuming you work every single day for the 4 years of your undergrad, 1,460 days, and every single penny you make goes to tuitions and tax deductions aren't factored in, daily hours at a minimum wage needed to pay for tuition in 2014, 17.31. Annual tuition for Yale 1970 adjusted for inflation in 2014, $15,253.61. Minimum wage 1970 adjusted for inflation in 2014, $8.85. This is what we're given to work with, and we're called lazy and entitled when we call foul. You know why this is what we have to work with? Because your generation and the generation before it decided they wanted to go to school for free, or rather on the government's dime, until they graduated and got a job to pay them back with reasonable interest rates. Great plan, right? Wrong. Because that gave schools the free reign to jack their tuition rates up every year. Because now the government was guaranteeing them that money. Same with textbook companies, who can now charge $200 for a spiral-bound, 150-page book that gets slightly reworded and reorganized every year and branded with blank edition, that your school requires you purchase in order to get an online code to access your assignments for that course. Can't buy an old edition. That code has been used before. By the way, you'll use that textbook exactly 4 times all semester. Want to sell it back at the end of the semester, you'll get $25 to $30 in bookstore credit for it. They can do this because the government subsidizes it. Who decided to let them do that? Wasn't my generation, and since then, the government has raised interest rates on those loans exponentially, because before, where a few people needed loans to attend college, now it's nearly impossible to pay out of pocket for your average 4-year university. Certainly not for the middle class, and even more so for the lower class that the right-wing conservatives love to blame for being lazy and not going to school and getting education to improve their circumstances. Meanwhile, the average college senior is graduating with over $35,000 in student loan debt with interest rates starting at 4% and climbing steadily from there, into an economy where the unemployment rate for young graduates is at 7% and the underemployment rate is at 15%. It'll take the average student close to 20 years to pay off that debt, due in part to the interest rates, but also due to the low starting salaries, abysmal employment rates, the rise in the cost of living, the housing market crash caused by the exact same stupid government subsidy plan, and the recession that not my generation but the ones before it hurled us into. So no, I'm not asking for free anything. I'm aware that such things don't exist. I'm simply asking that we be given the same opportunities as the generations before us without being called the entitled, selfish, lazy generation. We are adapting as best we can to the mess that was handed to us by a generation far more entitled than our own.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.